Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rachel from Evelyn&Peter, and today I have this super cute drawstring crossbody crochet pattern to share with you guys with this cute little sun on the front. You can find the free pattern on my blog, ENPcrochet.com, and then you can also find it available as a kit. So the kit comes with all the yarn you need to make your bag, plus a free copy of the PDF digital download. You can also customize your yarn colors as well. And then if you are already subscribed to my newsletter, you know that I send out whenever they're having a good sale, like 30% off. So that's always the best deal if you plan on getting the yarn anyways, because you get that free copy of the pattern with it, plus on sale yarn. So if you're not already subscribing, go to my blog and just pop in your email. I don't spam or give emails away. I only just send out newsletters whenever I have a new pattern or tutorial coming out, or whenever there's fun sales or fun things happening with Evelyn&Peter. So I recommend doing that. And then you can also find the pattern in my Etsy shop and in my Ravelry shop. I recommend to follow along with the written pattern on my blog as you watch the video tutorial, just in case. I always find that it's easier to do it that way. And then I also wanted to point out that you are holding your yarn double-stranded, and you are going to need 2 different hooks, but I go over all of the materials and everything like that in this video, plus you can find all of that information on my blog as well. So I hope you guys enjoy this pattern and tutorial, and I will catch you guys in the next video. So for this design, you're going to need worsted weight yarn. I'm using Lion Brand's Pima Cotton in the color Mineral Yellow. All of the exact yardage is listed on my blog for you, which is linked in the description, but I used about 4 skeins of this. And then you're also going to need a J 6mm hook, a needle and scissors, and then a H 5mm hook as well. So we're going to be making the main panels of this bag double-stranded. So you want to take 2 skeins of your yarn, and then we're going to hold the yarn together. You're just going to start off with a slip knot, and then you're going to hold your working yarn together just like you would if it was just 1 strand. So just pretend that is 1 strand of yarn, and you're just going to work your stitches like normal, holding these 2 strands together. So we're going to be starting off with 31 foundation single crochet stitches for the main panel. So go ahead and chain 2, and then we're going to work a foundation single crochet. So to do that, we're going to rotate our work slightly, and in that back bump of that first chain that we made, insert your hook, and then yarn over and pull up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the first loop only, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So that's 1 foundation single crochet. In the bottom of that stitch that you just made, insert your hook under both loops, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, in the bottom of that previous stitch, insert your hook. Make sure you go under both of those loops there, and then just yarn over and pull up 1 loop. Yarn over, pull through the first loop only, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops. If you need a slower video, I do have one for the foundation single crochet on my channel as well. And if you do not know how to work a foundation single crochet and you find it too tricky, you can also just work a starting chain instead of the foundation row. So to do that, you're just going to chain 32 and then work 1 single crochet into the second chain from the hook and all the way back across for a total of 31 single crochet stitches. So either way is fine. You'll just need to have a stitch count of 31 for the end of row 1 here. Okay, so we have just completed row 1 with 31 stitches. Now you're going to chain 1 and turn your work, and we're going to start row 2. So in that very first stitch, just work a single crochet into it, making sure you go under both the front and the back loop. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And for this row, we're just going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch across the row. When you complete row 2, go ahead and do that 2 more times. So you want a total of 4 rows of single crochet. So when you get to the end, chain 1 and turn and repeat, and then chain 1 and turn and repeat for a total of 4 rows of single crochet. And now we're going to be fastening off our work, so just yarn over, pull through, and cut your yarn. And then you want to make sure to turn your work still. So after we fasten off, go ahead and turn your work, and then just set it aside for a minute. And we're going to be starting row 5 with a new strand of yarn. You're still holding it double, but we're just going to grab our yarn again and then do the same thing. Just create a slip knot and insert your hook, and now you're going to chain 5. So yarn over and pull through a total of 5 times. And then after you have that chain 5, you're going to pick your work back up, and we're going to attach this chain to our previous row. So remember, you should have already turned your work, and now in that very last stitch that we made from row 4, you're just going to insert your hook into that stitch and work a single crochet. So find that last stitch. You can just hold your yarn with your finger and then work a single crochet into that corner stitch. And then we're just going to work single crochet stitches all the way across. So now we have this chain 5 on the corner here, and we're going to work our stitches across the row. So go ahead and work 1 single crochet into each of those remaining stitches. So now we're just going to finish off the row by chaining 7, because we want this side to equal out the other side, but we need to put in a couple more chains than the other side of the panel. So we're going to do 7 on this side, and then you can just go ahead and turn your work. And for row 6, we're going to be working our way back down, working through the chains and through that main panel from the previous row and through the chains on the other side as well. So now you're going to be working a double crochet stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook. So yarn over, and in that 3rd chain, you can go ahead and insert your hook. It might take a little bit of wiggling to get your hook into these chains here. So just insert and then yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through 2. That is 1 double crochet stitch. So then we're going to do the same thing into the following chain, yarn over, insert your hook into that next chain, and then go ahead and work a double crochet into that one as well. And then we're going to be making 1 more double crochet stitch, and we're going to do it in the very next chain. So yarn over, insert your hook into that next chain, and then yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the final 2. So now we have 3 double crochet stitches. And these last 2 chains here, we're just going to skip over them, and then our next stitch is going to be worked into the stitch following right after those 2 chains. So in that very first stitch from the previous row, you can go ahead and yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that is 1 double crochet stitch. And then you're just going to chain 3, so yarn over and pull through 3 times. And now in that very same stitch, so in the same one as our first double crochet, you're going to work a second double crochet. So we did 1 double crochet, chain 3, 1 double crochet, all into that same stitch. So now you're going to skip over the next 2 stitches, and then in the following stitch, we're going to be working a double crochet. So skip 2 and then double crochet, and then work 1 more double crochet into the next 4 stitches here. So we're going to have a total of 5 double crochet stitches in a row. And now we're basically just going to keep repeating what I just showed you. So now we're going to skip over 2. And then we're going to do the same thing that we did here with the double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. So skip 2 and then work a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, and then you're just going to repeat that across the row. So after you work this, you're going to skip 2 again, and then work a double crochet into the next 5 stitches, and then skip 2 and work a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, and just go ahead and repeat across, and then I will show you when we get to the end here. Okay, so now we repeated that across and I have 5 chains remaining. So now I'm just going to skip the next 2 chains, and then in the final 3 chains of the row, I'm going to work 1 double crochet into each of them. It's going to mirror the beginning side, and we want it to be the same on this side. So you're just going to skip 2 and then insert your hook and work a double crochet, and then work 2 more double crochet into those final chains. Okay, so that completes row 6, and this is the right side of our work as well. So when you seam it together, this is the side you want on the outside of your bag. Your stitch count also stays the same with the 41 stitches. Those chain 3s, each chain counts as a stitch. So if you want to count the double crochets and the chains, count as a stitch towards your stitch count. So now we're going to begin row 7. Start off by chaining 2, and this does not count as a stitch. So in that same spot, you're going to work your first double crochet, and then we're going to skip over the next stitch and work 1 double crochet into the following. So skip 1 and then 1 double crochet into the next. And now you're going to chain 2. And then we're going to be working our stitches into that first chain space that we have. So chain 2, and then in our first chain 3 space, you're going to work a total of 5 double crochet stitches. So you're not working it into the chains, you're going to work it into the actual chain space. So you can just go ahead and work your stitches around those chains instead of trying to put them in the chains. So go ahead and work 5 stitches into it. And now we're going to be chaining 2 again. So yarn over and pull through twice, and then skip over the first double crochet. So the double crochet right after the chain 3 space, you're going to skip over that one. And then you're going to be working 1 double crochet into the next stitch. So now we're going to skip over the next 3 double crochet, and then in that last double crochet of that group of 5, you're going to work a second double crochet there. So we have a double crochet, skip over 3, and then a double crochet. So now we're going to go ahead and chain 2, and then just work 5 double crochet into the next chain 3 space. And then after you got those 5 double crochet, you just repeat that across. So chain 2, and then you'll skip over that first double crochet following it, and you'll work a double crochet into the next, skip 3, and then a double crochet into the following. So that's the one where you're working 1 double crochet on the edges of the group of 5 from the row below, and then just 5 double crochet into the chain spaces, and just repeat across the row until 4 double crochet remain, and I will show you how to finish off this row. Okay, we're coming up to the end of the row here. Now we're just going to chain 2, skip 1, and then work a double crochet into the next stitch. And then again, we're going to skip 1 and work a double crochet into the final stitch of the row. So it's just going to mirror the start of the row. Both sides will look the same, and that completes row 7. And again, your stitch count stays the same here as well. So it'll stay the same throughout the panel. So now we're going to be working row 8. You can go ahead and turn your work. So again, we're going to start off with a chain 2, and this does not count as a stitch, so it won't count as a stitch throughout any of these remaining rows. So we're going to work 1 double crochet into that very first stitch, and then you can go ahead and chain 1 and then work a second double crochet into that same spot. So we'll have a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet all into that first stitch. So now we're going to be skipping over the next double crochet plus that chain 2 space. You're just going to skip right over those and then work 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches. So our group of 5 that we have in the row below, you're just going to work 1 double crochet into each of those. Again, you're going to skip over that little chain space that you have, and then in between the 2 double crochet stitches from below, so where we worked a double crochet and a double crochet, so there's no chain space there, but it's just in between those 2 stitches is where you're going to work your double crochet and then chain 3, and then in that same spot work a second double crochet. So it's just in between those 2 slanted double crochet stitches, you just work double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. And then we're just going to be repeating this across the row. So in that next group of the 5 double crochet stitches, work 1 double crochet into each of them, and then continue across the row, just repeating the same thing. So in between those 2 slanted double crochet is where you'll work the double crochet, chain 3 double crochet, and just continue repeating across, and then I'll show you how to finish off the row here. Okay, so we're at the end of the row. We have our 2 double crochet stitches left. You're just going to skip over the chain space and that first double crochet, and in your last double crochet stitch of the row, you're going to work a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet all into that same spot, and it matches the other end, and that completes row 8. Okay, so we're going to turn our work and start off row 9 the same way with the chain 2, and then we're going to be working 1 double crochet into that very first stitch of the row, and then in that little chain 1 space that we have right after it, you're going to be working 2 double crochet stitches into that space. So again, you can just put it directly into the space and not into the actual chain. So we have 3 double crochet total here. And now we're going to chain 2 and skip over the next stitch. So that double crochet that's right after, we're going to skip over it and then work 1 double crochet into the following stitch, and then skip those next 3 double crochet, and in that next double crochet after it, work another double crochet. So it's kind of like how we did it in the other row where we work double crochet, skip 3 double crochet, and then we're going to chain 2, and in that next chain 3 space, you're just going to work another 5 double crochet stitches into that. And then you're just going to repeat that across the row. So chain 2, skip the next double crochet, work a double crochet in the next stitch, skip 3 and work a double crochet into the following, and then just repeat all the way across until 3 stitches remain. When you get to the end of the row here, you're going to chain 2, skip 1 double crochet, and then work 2 double crochet into that final chain space, and then work 1 last double crochet into the final stitch of the row. Okay, that completes row 9. We're going to be moving on to row 10 here, and this is the last row before you're just going to start repeating the same rows over and over. So go ahead and turn your work and chain 2 to begin row 10. So we're going to be working 1 double crochet into the first 3 stitches here. So you have your chain 2 and then work a double crochet into the following, and then one more double crochet. And then we're going to be skipping over the chain 2 space. And then in between those 2 double crochet stitches, just like we did before, so it's not an actual chain space or anything, you're just working it in between those 2 slanted double crochets. And you're going to do the same thing as before with 1 double crochet, chain 3, 1 double crochet, all into that same spot. Then you're going to skip over that double crochet and the chain 2 space, and then just work your double crochet stitches into each of those 5 stitches from the row below. Then just continue repeating in between those 2 slanted double crochets. Do the same thing, double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, and then 5 double crochet into the group of the 5 double crochet from the row below. Go ahead and repeat across. And then when you get to the end of the row here, you'll have a chain 2 space and 3 double crochet remaining. You're just going to skip over that chain 2 space and work 1 double crochet into the final 3 stitches of your row to complete row 10. And now for rows 11 through 22, you're just going to repeat rows 7 through 10. So the last 4 rows that we did are what you're going to be repeating, and you're going to repeat it a total of 3 more times. So rows 11, 12, 13, 14, you'll do 7, 8, 9, and 10. 15, 16, 17, and 18, again, you'll repeat rows 7, 8, 9, 10. And then rows 19, 20, 21, and 22, you'll repeat rows 7 through 10 for a 3rd time. So go ahead and just repeat rows 7 through 10 for a total of 22 rows on your panel. And this is what it should look like when you complete that. And then after you finish this first panel here, you need to go back and then redo this same exact panel for a 2nd time. So they're going to be identical, and you can go back and rewatch the video if you need a reminder on how to do it. But just go ahead and make sure you have 2 of these panels before you move on. And it's not absolutely required, but it is helpful when you fasten off your yarn here that you leave one of the strands a longer length so that you can sew down the edge of your bag. So you can see I'm cutting one of my strands short because when I sew my bag together, I only use 1 strand. It hides the seam a lot better, and you don't need 2 strands going as you're sewing up the sides and the bottom. So you can just leave 1 strand a little bit longer, and it'll help you so that you don't have to bring in a new piece of yarn. You can just sew down the side with this strand here. So once you have the 2 main panels made, I'm just going to show you really quickly how to seam it together before moving on to the strap and the cord. So you'll want to place your 2 panels together right sides facing. So remember when I said that when we're looking at that first row with the double crochets, that is our right side of the bag. So we want that to be on the outside where people can see it. We want those 2 sides facing each other. It honestly really doesn't matter which side you want your right or wrong, but I just think this side looks a little bit better than the other side. I think it pops a little more. So that's going to be the right side for the pattern, and then you'll just place them together, and then we're going to sew down the sides using our strand of yarn or the tails of yarn. If you didn't leave enough length yarn, don't worry, you can just pull in a new piece of yarn to do this. And then we're also going to sew along the bottom as well. And when you're sewing, make sure you don't sew these corners here, the little L shape. You want to leave those unsewn for now, and we're going to sew it a little bit differently after we get the sides and bottom attached. So you're just going to go ahead and take your needle and then your tail of yarn, and you can use whatever stitch that you prefer for seaming or sewing your pieces together. You can do the mattress stitch or an invisible join. Whichever way you like doing it, you just want to make sure that your panels are lined up correctly. So as you go along, make sure you're frequently checking so that your rows are lined up. So that on the outside, once we're done sewing, that they're nice and even and you don't have any crooked panels. So you can just go ahead and sew down the first side here. And then you'll have to do the same thing on the other side. And then you'll also want to sew that first row together along the bottom as well. So once we have the 3 sides sewn together, we need to sew those little L-shaped corners here to give our bag some shape. So what you're going to do with the right side still facing is fold your bag so that the panels are laid out flat like this and the seam is directly in the center here. You can see our side seam we just did, and we want that to line up with the bottom seam of the bag. So we're just going to kind of sandwich this corner together and then sew in a straight line across to join it. So you can use the same process that you did on the sides and the bottom of the bag and just use your needle and a tail of yarn and seam straight across. Just make sure that the side seam and the bottom seam of the bag are lined up, and then you can go ahead and repeat on the other side as well. So once we have our bag sewn together, you're going to turn it right side out so that the seams are on the inside, and we're just going to do one quick round around the top of the bag to give it a nice clean trim. So you're going to take new yarn. Again, you want to hold it double stranded, and you're still using your 6mm hook here, and you're just going to pick one of the side seams, it doesn't matter which one, and then you're just going to stitch directly to the left of that side seam, and then just insert your hook and work a slip stitch to join in. And then we're just going to work single crochet stitches around the top. So you can go ahead and chain 1, and then in that very same stitch work a single crochet, and then you're going to want to work a single crochet into the top of each of the double crochet stitches from that last row of the panels. And then when you reach the chain 3 spaces, you're going to work 3 single crochet stitches into those chain spaces. So you'll work them into the actual space and not into the chain, and you'll just work 3 into each of those. Make sure you don't miss the double crochets on either side of those chain spaces. They can kind of get easily missed if you're not paying attention, so just make sure you do those as well. And then into all of the sections where you have the 5 double crochet together, and you're just going to do this all the way around, including on the other side, and you will have a total of 82 single crochet stitches when you're done. And you'll just slip stitch that very first stitch that you made to join, and then go ahead and fasten off. So now we need to make the strap for the bag. You're going to go ahead and use double strands again for this one and your 6mm crochet hook. And we're going to start off with a slip knot like normal, and then chain 5. So yarn over and pull through a total of 5 times. And then we're going to be working 1 row of single crochet stitches back across that chain. So in the second chain from the hook, work a single crochet, and then work a single crochet into the remaining 3. So we're going to have a total of 4 single crochet stitches. And now row 2 is the row that we're going to be repeating for the remainder of the strap. So chain 1, turn your work. You have the front loop and the back loop. The back loop is furthest away from you. You want to put your hook in the back loop, and then you want to line it up and find that back loop of the bottom chain. And we're going to be putting our hook into that one as well. So you put your hook in the back loop of your current row, plus kind of tilt it forward a little bit, and then put your hook in the back loop of the chain. So you put it through both, and then just yarn over and pull through and work a single crochet like normal. Again, insert in the back loop of your current row, and then find that back bump of the chain. Put it under both, and then yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, in the third one, you insert your hook in the back loop and then the back loop of the chain, and then yarn over and pull up a loop and work your single crochet. And then for the last one as well, so we're going to do it a total of 4 times, and then we're just going to repeat that until our strap measures about 24 inches. So again, chain 1 and turn your work. You can start to see the loops a little bit easier now. The first few rows can be confusing and look weird, but once you get through those, it is much easier, I promise. So in the back loop of your current row and the back bump of the previous, you're going to be working your single crochet stitches. They kind of fold into each other on these rows here. So you just want to find the back loop of your current, and then that little row that now should be more distinct from the previous row, and work your single crochet. I'll show you again. Just chain 1, turn your work in the back loop, the one that is furthest away from you, and then the lined here along the back, you can see it's the back loops that we didn't work into. That's where you're going to be putting your hook, and then just work your single crochet stitches. This is a really sturdy stitch for our strap so that it doesn't stretch out, or when we put things in our bag, it keeps it nice and sturdy. So I really recommend doing this one for the strap. And it's really easy to do once you get those first few rows out of the way. You can see how much easier it is to locate those loops on the back. They become much more distinct as you get going. So just go ahead and repeat the row until your strap is about 38 inches long. I recommend putting the strap over your shoulder and seeing about where it's going to hit on your body. You don't want to do it too much longer than that because if you put lots of heavy stuff in your bag, it may stretch slightly. Okay, so we have our finished strap here, and now we just need to do the last final row to finish it off. So go ahead and chain 1 and turn your work. And then you're going to put your hook in the back loop and in that bump, and instead of working a single crochet, you're just going to slip stitch. So in the back loop of the current row, and then in that back loop of the previous row, and then yarn over, pull through, and pull up a loop through the loop on your hook to just slip stitch. And you're just going to do this across for a total of 4 times, and then that is it for the strap. You can go ahead and fasten off. I recommend leaving one of your strap or one of your tails a little bit longer so you can use it as the tail to sew this other end of your strap to the bag. So now we're going to be working up a drawstring using 2 strands in our 6mm hook. Start off with a slip knot. And for this portion, we're going to be making a Romanian cord. If you find it difficult to do, or you just want to do something else, you also have the option just to work one long chain and then slip stitch back down that chain. That will also work for a drawstring cord. But I personally love doing the Romanian cord. I think it gives it a really fun and pretty texture. So for that one, we are going to chain 2, and then in that very first chain, you're going to work a single crochet stitch. So it's going to be looking a little weird at first, but rotate your work slightly, and on the side of the stitch we made, you have that loop there. Just work a single crochet into it. So you twist your work a little bit, put your hook in that loop that you see on the side, and then just work a normal single crochet. Again, twist your work slightly, and now you'll see 2 loops here. We're going to be putting our hook under both of those loops. So it's 4 strands of yarn, but just 2 loops. And just work a single crochet like normal. And that's just what we're going to repeat throughout the rest of making this cord. So twist your work slightly, locate those 2 loops that are right next to each other, put your hook under both of those loops, and work a single crochet stitch. And you're just twisting your work as you go and working these stitches. So you can see, twist it, you see the loop on the side, put your hook through it, and work a single crochet. So the further you get in it, the easier it is to do and find that little loop, the 2 loops. So only that first time you'll have 1 loop, and then the remaining times you'll have 2 loops. And then you can just continue repeating this until your drawstring cord is approximately 39 inches long. So that's how long I did mine. You can adjust it longer or shorter if you want, but 39 inches is what I did. And really quickly, this is how we will be threading our cord through our bag. So pick which side you want to be the front of your bag, and then in that center left chain 3 space, you're just going to put your cord in from front to back, and then from back to front in the following, and then from front to back, and just continue weaving the cord in and out through the top of the bag here using those chain 3 spaces. So now we just need to make the little drawstring loop that goes around our cord. You're going to be using only one strand of yarn for this and a 5mm hook for this one as well. And then we're just going to start off with a slip knot and chain 7. And then in the second chain from the hook and in each chain back across, you're just going to work 1 single crochet stitch into each of them for a total of 6 single crochet stitches. When you get to the end of the row, you can chain 1 and turn your work, and then just work 1 single crochet into each stitch back across the row, again for a total of 6 single crochet, and you're going to repeat that for a total of 10 rows. So we'll have 10 rows total, 6 single crochet each to form our little loop to put on the drawstring. So once you have your 10 rows, you're just going to fold your piece in half and then just slip stitch the first and the last row together. So I just have my stitches lined up. I insert my hook into the stitch of my last row and then stick it through the chain that we made in the beginning, and then just yarn over and pull through both and through the loop on your hook to slip stitch to join. Then you can just flip your work right side out so that that seam is hidden on the inside, and then we'll just thread this over both of the strands of the drawstring cord. You should be able to easily move this up and down to cinch your bag shut. So now we have the little sun motif to add to the little drawstring loop. This part is totally optional, but I just love it. I think it looks so cute and adds a little something more to the bag. It's really quick and easy to make as well. So we're going to use a 5mm hook and just 1 strand of yarn for this piece. Start off with a magic loop this time. So you're going to take your yarn and wrap it around, creating kind of an X on the top of your hand here. Put your hook on top of that first loop and grab the second loop, pull it through, but don't pull your tail tight to close it. And now we're going to chain 1, and for our first round we're going to be working stitches into the magic loop. So we're just going to be working 7 single crochet into this loop. So just insert your hook into the loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through 2, a total of 7 times. Then we're just going to pull that tail closed so that we can close up our magic loop. That completes round 1 with a total of 7 single crochet, and we are going to slip stitch to join. So in that very first single crochet that you made, just insert your hook, yarn over, and then pull through, and pull through the loop on your hook as well to do the slip stitch. And now for round 2, you're just going to chain 1. And then in that very same stitch where we joined, we're going to work 3 single crochet into it. So insert your hook into that very first stitch and work your 3 single crochet stitches. And then in the following single crochet right after it, you're going to work 2 single crochet stitches. And then we're just going to repeat that around. So 3 into the next one, and then 2 into the one following that. You will end with 3 single crochet in the last stitch of this round, and you should have a total of 18 single crochet stitches to complete round 2. When you reach your way back around, just slip stitch to that very first single crochet to join to complete the round. And now round 3 is where we're going to be making the little sun rays. So chain 4, and then we're going to be working back down this chain. Slip stitch in the second chain from the hook, and then in the next chain right after, work a single crochet, and then in that very first chain, work a half double crochet, and that makes one little ray. You're gonna skip over the next stitch of the previous round, and in the following stitch is where you're going to slip stitch in to join. And then we're just gonna repeat that all the way around. So again, chain 4, and then slip stitch into the second chain, and then single crochet into the following, and then half double crochet into the last chain. Skip that next empty stitch of round 2, and then in the one directly after that, work a slip stitch to join. So go ahead and repeat that around until you get back to the beginning. I'm finishing up the last little ray here, and then I'm going to skip that next stitch, and in the following slip stitch to join and to finish our little sun. Then you can just fasten off, and you can leave your little tail to sew it to the little drawstring loop. So next we're going to add our strap to the bag. So you can just take your strap, and then you'll want to place it on the inside of the bag, so that it comes down about 1 inch, 1.5 inches past the top of the bag, just so that it has a nice section to hold on to and keep our bag sturdy. So make sure it's a little bit lowered down, and not sew it just on that last row. You'll want to sew all 4 sides of the strap to your bag so that you have a nice sturdy hold. And you can just, if you left a tail of yarn on the strap, you can use that, or you can grab a new piece and sew it on to the side here. Just make sure that your side seam is in the middle and even with your strap so that it's nice and even. And then you can use whatever method that you prefer for sewing, however way you want to do it. I just recommend that you do 4 sides of the strap and kind of go in a square shape. So you'll want to sew along the bottom, up the side, and then when you reach the top of the last row of the main panel of the bag, you'll want to sew along that top portion as well, and then back down the other side until you get to where you started. So you're kind of just doing it in a little square shape. That way you have a nice sturdy hold, and then just repeat on the other side as well, making sure your strap is not twisted. And finally, if you made the little sun motif, you're just going to want to tie it to the little drawstring loop. You can pull this off of your drawstring and just sew it on to the front here using your needle and your yarn tail, and then just weave in any remaining ends that you have on your bag. And that is it for this design. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video tutorial.